So hello to those of you just joining us. We will be starting in just a couple of minutes, just allowing people to join the live room. Please do let us know where in the world you're joining us from today. Our webinars do attract a global audience, so it's always good to know where we're broadcasting to. The chat box is now open, so you can just pop that into the chat. Right, Sandra, sure it's a little chilly in Munich. Okay, so hello and welcome to the latest ATTA webinar. So thank you all for taking the time out of your day to join us. And today we're off to Zambia and Malawi with green safaris for their dream circuit. Before we start, as I've mentioned, we do attract a global audience, so please do let us know where you're joining us from today. It's always good to know where we're broadcasting to. As usual, the webinar is being recorded, so if you miss anything, don't worry, as the recording will be available shortly after the live session. There are, as always, time for questions at the end, so if you do have any questions, please pop these into the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, and we'll be able to run through these after the presentation. So presenting today, we're joined by Ros Hine, Business Development Manager for Green Safaris, who has been involved in Southern African tourism for over 30 years in a number of business roles. Ros, wonderful to have you with us again. So over to you for the presentation.
Thank you very much, Chris. I really appreciate that. And thanks to all of you who've taken the time. I know it's a very busy time of the year and everybody's scrambling with new quotes and bookings and availability. So I really do appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yes, so some of you may have been on my webinar before, I'm not sure, but I'm Rosalind Hine. My email address is ros@greensafaris.com, so if any of you want to get hold of me afterwards for rates or any other information, you're most welcome to as well. So Green Safaris is the brainchild of Vincent. He's based in the Netherlands. He, as a young man, spent some time in Zambia and fell in love with it, and decided when he was later on in life, he was going to start a fund, and that fund would be involved in preserving wildlife and protecting environments, which is probably the two of the big pillars of Green Safaris and what we stand for. One of the other pillars that came out of that is obviously empowering people. You can't conserve environments and protect wildlife without empowering people, and you really do have to do it on a very big scale. It can't just be taking them on a game drive or giving them a lunch pack here and there. It has to be, you know, very much immersive and involved, etc. And Green Safaris does that in a very, very large way. Then built out of what does green stand for? You know, green is obviously sustainability. It's your carbon imprint. It's what you leave behind if you left the area. And so we don't build big sprawling lodges that take up lots of space. It's all, you know, built off the ground, treehouse living in some instances. And so born out of that was, well, what is luxury around the story of sustainability? We felt that outdoing your imagination was where we wanted to be in terms of luxury. So it's about the best guides, the best locations, the best food, the best service, etc. And that for us was outdoing our imagination, and also what you're living in, basically. So we'll come to that a little bit as we go on through the presentation. I know this is a very small screen, but this just gives you some idea of some of the projects that they're involved in. It's, for example, when we acquired Tongabezi, they really did have a school, Titachani, which is now houses 320 pupils, but and they did have a organic garden, which was about the size of a tennis court. Now he went to the chiefdom and he donated land and we donated the funds, and now there's 2 organic farms there. So we're not only just empowering people through jobs, through tourism, we're also empowering them through farming. And then we also have, for example, a chicken coop in Livingstone, where we now have, I think it's 3,000 chickens. And again, it's farming, it's creating employment, empowering people. We have a skills center, so obviously empowering people through education, through, you know, from a grassroots level, but also through their skills that they can develop and be able to feed their families. And that's just Livingstone. I mean, I haven't even gone to the other areas. So this just gives a little snapshot. We do have a separate website called Green Safaris Foundation that you can go and click on, and you can go and actually see all the projects that we're involved in. This is a map to show you a little bit more about Green Safaris. Obviously down here in Livingstone, we have Tongabezi and Sindabezi. Tongabezi is the only lodge that does have electricity because it came like that when we bought it. Sindabezi Island is solar run and falls very much in line with the sustainable ethos that Green Safaris is. Then up in Kafue, we have Ila Safari Lodge, which is based in the central Kafue. Time flying between Livingstone and Ila is about an hour. Chisa Busanga up in the Busanga Plains. Again, it's an hour and a half from Livingstone, or a 25-minute hop from Ila in there. From Lusaka to Kafue, it's just over an hour and about 40 minutes to Ila. We do road transfer between Ila and Lusaka. It's about a 4.5 hour. And then obviously, well, not obviously, maybe some of you don't know, but ProFlight is the regional flight that flies from Livingstone to Lusaka and then Lusaka to Mafue. If you are chartering, you can charter, if you've got 4 or more people, you can charter directly and go, don't skip out Lusaka. Lower Zambezi is very new and coming onto the map soon. I can't give you too much information yet about that, so please do look out for that information. It will be coming on our newsletters, that announcement. So if any of you are not on our newsletters, please drop me a line, ros@greensafaris.com, and I will get you on it so that you can be the first to hear the information of our new product. And then in South Luangwa, we have Shawa, which is 40 minutes from Mafue Airport. Again, depending on what aircraft ProFlight are flying, it's an hour to just over an hour to do this route as well. ProFlight does have a flight that does Lusaka, Mafue, Lilongwe. Nyasa Air also flies Lilongwe. So there's 2 flights that are coming out of this region into Lilongwe. It's also about an hour flight. And then you clear customs, and then your Nyasa Air up to Lekoma Island, where we have Mawa. So very much Zambia-based itinerary. You've got the falls, you've got the phoneticness of safari, and then you end in a stunning beach destination. So you leave Mafue after breakfast, and by lunchtime you're in Lekoma Island. Nyasa Air is now flying daily and meets you off the flights. So that's up for us. That it used to, after COVID, we went down to 3 times a week, but we now are flying daily. Also, Malawi's dropped all PCR requirements. You don't need to even have a vaccination certificate to come in. And as I'm sure some of you know, Zambia has done a massive drive in dropping their visa fees for most countries coming into Zambia as well. So all of these things helps you sell. Just some idea of some of our rack rates. Again, we're not placing ourselves for just the multi-million rand American client. We want to, be able to give across the board. So we don't hike our rack rates through the roof when we think they're pretty achievable. From an incentive point of view, the more nights you book, the more discount you get. So over and above your normal STO, if you book 5 to 6 nights, you would get a 10%, and so it goes on. We also subsidize flights. So the flights going into Kafue, we absorb, you would have to pay for a minimum 4 if you chartered. We absorb 2, and we charge a minimum 2. Specifically into Ila and Busanga Plains, you obviously have to be staying at a Green Safaris property to get that subsidization of flights. And then in the green season, we do have a stay 4, pay 3. Livingstone, Tongabezi is very well known. It's based along the Zambezi River, 25 minutes from the airport, from Livingstone Airport. It's about an hour and a half if you're coming in from the Victoria Falls Airport. Very easy to cross through the border. I did time it in July. It took us exactly 1.5 hours from Vic Falls Airport to us. But obviously from Livingston Airport, it's easy. It's 20 to 25 minute transfer. Also 20 to 25 minutes from the falls, nicely located. You don't hear the buzzing of helicopters and microlights above you, very peaceful and tranquil, except for the hippos, of course, making lots of noise. It's also not a lodge that has one main area. There's also various dimensions to Tongabezi. So this is what an area called Lookout. This is an area called, this is Lookout, this is Hangout, and there's the other central area there. And it's made up of various types of accommodation. Our river cottages are entry-level rooms. For those who want to outdo your imagination, you can stay in a tree house. And then we have our various houses that have plunge pools down to the sole use villa, which has just 4 bedrooms. It doesn't close, but our high season follows the safari season in Zambia. Well, basically except for South Africa, Southern Africans safari season. This is the river cottages. As I said, these are the entry levels. Dining at Tongabezi is part of the activities that we offer. We make dining an activity, whether you're a private dining in your own room, or whether you're on a dhow boat, or whether you're on a sampan, or a picnic on an island. It's all part and parcel of the rates that the inclusive rates that we give you. This is just another Boma area we have. Because there's a lot of private dining, we like to create these areas where guests can come together and meet each other and have a drink before heading off to do their private dining, should they want. These are one of the houses, the premium houses. Except for Tree House, they all have their own plunge pools. They have valets. The valets come and organize your day for you. This is Dog House, which is a family unit. You can see the other bedroom through the trees there, and their own little pool. And then their lounge dining area. So it's like a 2-bedroom contained unit connected with walkways. We have a garden cottage that also has 2 bedrooms, but it doesn't have a view of the river. It's got the stone wall around it, but has its own lounge dining area. This is the children's bedroom actually looking through to the lounge dining area, and then the other adult bedroom is on the side. This is the tree house built into the rocks and into the trees. And then we have Tangala House, which is a 4-bedroom sole use villa. Sorry, the presentation is very big, so I can't spend too much time looking at every single room. In our fact folders, we do have rate descriptions of our rooms under room breakdown and the agents folder, so you can find that there. Sindabezi Island is an island in the middle of the river. We've actually just introduced our electric boat here, which is part and parcel of what we wanted to do pre-COVID, but obviously that slowed us down. But part of the sustainable things to have electric boats. And so we've introduced one to Sindabezi Island. You have to get to it by boat. You can't get to it by road. It has 4 chalets on it. You can either have everything up or everything down. You'll have valets that do that for you. There's a chef that stays on the island, and your own guide and your own boats. All these cushions and decor you'll see comes from our skill center. We've got 2, one at Mawa and one at Tongabezi. These are sort of when we talk about the activities for the meal. So this is the picnics that we do. These are the sandbars we set up. So you can go and do your sundowner cruises or your fishing, and then you come back to what we call Squeaky Sand Island, which is opposite Tonga. And we have these sandbars set up, and they give you your champagne and your pims and your snacks. And again, you can meet other people, or you could book it privately. These are our sand pans. Again, we moor these only in low water. And when the water's running really, really fast, we can't do these. And obviously weather permitting, but we have 2 of these, one at Sindabezi Island and one at Tongabezi. So you can book those for your guests. That's part and parcel of your inclusive rates. Very romantic. Dhow boats that chug down the river, having lunch. And then a part and parcel of purchasing Tongabezi and Sindabezi was the concession for Livingston Island. For those of you who don't know, this is Livingston Island here. So this is the fall that spans right across. This section here is Zambia, and this section here is Zimbabwe. What I like to do is when selling this destination is to talk about the falls as I don't talk about Zim and Zambia as a separate thing. I actually refer to it as one country. It used to be one country many years ago. Though you get a visa waiver in Zambia, you just pay your $10 day visa to be able to come across and see the falls on the Zim side, and it's very easy and hassle-free to do so. When water is very high, it's actually stunning to see the falls just on the Zambian side. You don't need to go across to the Zim side to see the falls. And that's probably from about the lowest the water gets is in September, and then it sort of dries up. This whole section dries up, and it's only on this section that the falls come across, and that's in September. And then it's basically according to the rains that happen out of Angola as to the rise and fall of the river. But then it starts to rise again and reaches sort of its so that Livingston Island closes probably in around about February, March, depending on the river, and then it opens again in June, July again. So that's, you know, the low water times, and then high water is outside of that. So it's very, you can see the falls beautifully on the Zambian side, but in low water, when the island opens, that's the dream that you can do from the Zambian side. So actually, regardless of whether you're staying on the Zim or Zambian side, you're going to need to do that 10-day dollar, because you get a lot of people who are doing the tour of the falls that see people swimming in the falls and want to come across and do the Devil's Pool. This is the Devil's Pool. This is the pool that you swim in over here. This is where I was saying the water comes across. There you'll see some people in Devil's Pool and then people across on that side. There is videos available. You can see them on the Livingston Island website. Then Ila, as I said, is based in central Kafue. It was Vincent's first lodge that he built. Again, the idea is to build it off the ground. 10 tents, 2 of them are family tents and 2 have the baths out on the deck. It's open a little bit longer than some of the others, but again, it follows the high season of the 1st of July to the 31st of October. The only reason is that it closes at certain times of the year is that's when the rainfall happens. You've all heard about the flooding that's happening now down in the Kruger. It happens up in Zambia as well at this time of the year, and the sand literally turns to mud. So you cannot, I mean, sticky mud, and you do have that closed period time. But obviously the high season follows the high season through the rest of Busanga Plains, Lower Zam, and South Luangwa. Built solar paneling, built with maximum ventilation through. It is in a game management area, so we do pontoon straight across into the Kafue National Park. You know, stylishly decorated. Your valets do come to you in the morning with your coffee and tea and your flasks of water. Outside showers, beautiful decks overlooking the Kafue River. There's only 2 rivers you can traverse in Zambia, one being the Zambezi River and the other being the Kafue River. You cannot traverse the Luangwa River. This is the family unit. And the idea behind Ila is not just all about safaris. Yes, there is safaris. It's fast going to become one of the reserves to look out for, with African Parks having signed their $4 billion deal with Zambian government to manage this park. So there's a lot going on in the park at the moment. But at Ila, we do also emphasize the relax as well. So we have our electric vehicles as part of our sustainable mantra about the carbon imprint that we leave behind. We have electric boats that go down the river. You can book those having lunch or for a sundowner cruise. We do also make dining an activity in terms of doing brunches out in the bush or breakfast out in the bush, or sundowner bars set up on the banks of the river, so you can chug down the river and then stop and have your sundowners on the bank of the river. We have a floating spa. So at Tongabezi, you've got the floating dinner. At Ila, you have the floating spa. And then north is what I think is the jewel of Zambia, is the Busanga Plains. It is absolutely stunning. Been selling Zambia for 15 years. I only made it into this area in 2019 in November, and my jaw literally hung on the ground. Vincent came up with this incredible idea of building these nests in the plains. It is only open really from the 1st of June. It depends on the rain. So this year, for example, we could have actually done safari in May, but we sort of play it safe and say from the 1st of June, but high season from the 1st of July. So this area is a lake throughout the year, and then the water recedes and you end up with this beautiful lush green grass that comes out and attracts the game, and there are hundreds into this area. So when I was there, I just saw herds of buffalo and roan and sable and antelope. And I think Vincent told me the last count of lions in this area was up to 59. And they do get, and Panthera Projects has done an incredible job as well here in getting the lion population stabilized. beautiful, big, massive packs of wild dogs, cheetah, because of the open plains. The game viewing is astounding. So it's only got 4 nests. One does have a lift. If you've got somebody with a mobility issue, they can operate it themselves, or they can get the valets to operate it for them. It is all run off solar. The actual nests are very compact. Again, it's all about that off the ground living, less impact. So if you took the camp away, you wouldn't leave anything behind. That's sort of your views from the thing. We've got these safari breezes now that come in, sorry, it's not safari breezes, air breezes. These are the air conditioners now you can run off solar. They've perfected over the years, so we've now installing them in our properties. Shower, basin, toilet, you don't need much else here. Small main area, because again, it only has 8 guests. And you'll see we don't even have a permanent floor. It's all about the sustainable of how we build. So even the walls have the Hessian sandbags in it, and all the natural fiber decor, etc. That's very nice. A live cooking station behind here. So the food is absolutely incredible. They bring the organic food in from our organic farm in near Ila. And the chefs here are, I mean, the food was drop dead for little, Boma areas outside, swimming pool. We actually pump this pool. We don't put acid and chlorine in it because you don't want to be pumping that into a pristine environment. So we do pump this every few days with natural water. Little enclosed Boma, but it is open on the one side. Electric vehicles here, 4-tour vehicle. I don't take children 9 and under. We only take children 9 and over. This is actually what happens. So if any of you have ever been to the Kwai area, it's a similar thing where you get this little stream that runs through after the lake recedes, and that's what actually attracts the game. And when I was here, we just saw hundreds of storks and birds of prey on the ground. And I'm a birder, and I saw 4 new birds just coming from the airport. No tsetse flies up in the Busanga Plains as well. Just some more images. We have electric bikes that you can use to ride around the camp in if you want to do a little bit of exercise, walking, and then obviously some pics that were taken by some of our guests. Then Shawa, based in the Nsefu sector of South Luangwa, again, which is a game management area, has 4 tents, the same as Chisa Busanga, so mainly 8 guests in camp. One is a family unit, so if there's a family with 2 children, again, 9 and over. If you've taken the whole lodge, you can take whatever children you want, same with Chisa, so you can take that sole use. But here, we will only take children if it's sole use under 9. But other than that, we will take them, and we've got 1 family tent we can put them in. Opens a month earlier than just the Chisa Busanga. It's treehouse living, so this is sort of about 7 foot off the ground. Every night I sat here with my feet over, and elephants were coming through the camp. So we do have a little area that we use for sundowners. If guests are coming in off a late flight and they're not going on safari and they just want to chill next to the river and have a sundowners. But there are constantly elephants in here, so we can't have dinner down here. But we do have breakfasts out up on the pool area, and then dinner up on the deck area. And again, it's not a permanent structure. You can remove it and you wouldn't impact the living. We do pontoon across from the game management area straight into South Luangwa. And this is important because the lodge itself is only 40 minutes from the airport. Sometimes some of the lodges takes you 3 hours to get to them, 3 or 4 hours. And the pro flight has sort of that early flight or that late flight. And so if you're leaving from a camp, you could end up having to leave at 3 in the morning, or you would only get there quite late in the evening. But for us, it's 40 minutes, and we also don't go through the gate. We don't get involved in what happens near the gate. We are right across from the Nsefu sector, we are in the Nsefu sector, but right across into South Luangwa, and often we have sightings to ourselves, which is fantastic. And we also do game drives in the Nsefu sector as well, which is open. Game comes across there all the time. As I said, breakfasts out on the pool deck. We do the same as all the other lodges, where you have a continental breakfast before you either go out on your game drive or your walk. And then we'll have brunch set up in the bush or back at camp. etc. High tea, and then you go on game drive and you have your dinner again. So that sort of follows that program. Treehouse living, again, off the ground, has its outside shower, which is not a bucket shower, it's a proper shower. We have it's toilets, it's basins. I've been told by Vincent, building another outside toilet area, because if you're tall, you could end up hitting your head in this toilet. So we are building an outside toilet for those people who are tall, can use that one instead. Also air breezes coming into this camp as well. You can have everything rolled up. So we've got this black, like you've got a Chisa, which is sort of the mozzie net thing zipped up, the canvas rolled all the way over, or the sides down, whichever you want, your clients want. And again, they don't do that themselves. Our valets do that for you. This is the family unit. So our lodges are not this close. This is just the family unit. Electric vehicles. You obviously know the game viewing here is absolutely stunning. You're almost guaranteed of seeing leopard when you come to South Luangwa. I have never been there and not seen leopard and lions. And the last time I was there, I also saw wild dog. So that was incredible. Brunches in the bush, as I said, these beautiful home to the walking safaris, and it's so conducive to walking South Luangwa. And they also, when I was there, they set up the bar here for sundowners, and as it was the sun was setting in the dusk, you had these thousands of carmine bee eaters coming into nest, which is these little holes you see on the bank. So absolutely incredible and mind-blowing to be part of that. And then, as I said, by breakfast, you're in Lake Malawi, which is a true beach destination. You sometimes forget that you're there, that it's fresh water. Also, various types of rooms, standard rooms, premier houses, a sole use house, which is in Doma House. We do also have a rainy season, so there is a closure as well. But this is basically what it looks like. I mean, the water is like this constant between 24 and 26 degrees throughout the year. So you can swim June, you can swim November. It's absolutely stunning. Romantic family units. So it's honeymooners, FITs, families. It's all of that. And that's what it looks like. I don't even think the pictures do it justice. I love Mawa. I cannot wait to go back. I've been twice. My 13-year-old son cried when we left there. And yeah, just fishing all the time. That's our spa. Every room is different, built into the rocks, built many years ago by the community with the rocks that are in the area. Also run off solar, so forms part of the whole green thing. Organic gardens, which is a community-driven project. Lots of community-driven projects on this island. As you can see, every room is different. Some have plunge pools, some are right on the beach with your big pool. This is actually in Doma House. I only put one image here, but the Doma House has got 4 bedrooms. That's the sole use villa. So that comes with its own boat and its own chefs and etc. So we can do a whole sole use circuit throughout. And then from an activity point of view, all the fresh water you get in your aquariums, anyone's got aquariums at home, comes from these Rift Valley lakes. So snorkeling is amazing. And my son was fishing up a storm here. Boats that you can just chug around, having a casual little, chug around the island, or you can go and do skiing, tubing, water skiing, kite surfing, whatever it is that you need to do. We have a full paddy scuba diving there, canoeing, sailing, sundowner cruise, etc. We've got e-bikes. You can go into the community and go and ride around. There's this incredible church that was built many years ago by the missionaries, and it's still standing, and it's an amazing thing to see. This is our skills center. So you can actually canoe around. I mean, that's what my son and I did. We canoed around and we went up there, and I went and shopped till I dropped there. And it's quite astounding what these ladies do with just bottles of wine and recycled glass chandeliers, and they make termite mud beads, and they make these beautiful chandeliers. They do these cushion covers and table runners, and it's actually absolutely incredible. This one chandelier here has actually got recycled copper at the bottom and recycled glass at the top that was commissioned by someone from the UK and shipped off to them. So yeah, this is just a little, so ethical styling is part of our green mantra. And then these are some of the projects some images of our projects. And that's it.
Excellent. Excellent.
Crosshold of South Luangwa and Sefu sector less than an hour. That's Vincent. Okay. He's obviously on the presentation. So he says Shawa is based at the crosshold of South Luangwa and the Sefu sector, less than an hour from Kafue airport. It has 5 tents and can take 10 people. Yes, it can take 10 people, as I said, if there's a family in the family unit.
Yeah, perfect. Ros, thank you very much. Wonderful presentation as always. And it's always nice to do another webinar just to see how things have tweaked and changed and evolved ever so slightly, which is fantastic. So we do have the opportunity for questions. So if anyone does have any questions for Ros, please pop these into the Q&A box and we'll be able to address them now.
But, you know, they can always also just send me an email if they have some information, or they want some more information or fact sheets or access to the agent's portal or anything like that. You can just send it to ros@greensafaris.com and I will help you out.
Yeah, quick question from Sandra. Can you please talk about the flights to Mawa again, please?
Yes, absolutely. So the flights coming into Lilongwe at the moment are Ethiopian Airlines, and they fly from Addis Ababa, from Lusaka, from Harare, from Johannesburg, etc. And also Kenyan Airways coming in from Nairobi into Lilongwe or out of Lilongwe. From Johannesburg, I believe Chem Air and SAA are also starting to fly back into Lilongwe now, so a lot more access. But out of Zambia, you've got Pro Flights. They come in from Lusaka, they stop in Mafui, and then they obviously do a pickup and then they carry on straight to Lilongwe. Or you've got Nyasa Air, which NYASA, we can provide you with those rates. That also flies Mafui to Lilongwe. And then from Lilongwe to Lekoma Island, it's Nyasa Air that does a daily flight. So you can either get a private plane for them or just get on a shuttle that takes you there.
Excellent. Also, another flight-related question from Marco. Is the 15-kilo luggage restriction for the charter flights to Busanga including or excluding hand luggage?
It excludes hand luggage.
Okay. Okay, well, I think that's it in terms of questions. So for anyone who missed any of the webinar, it has been recorded. The recording will be shared shortly after the live session. We will also be sharing all of Ros's contact details and everything. So if you do want to get in touch with her directly, you will be able to. And of course, all the details are also available on the ATTA website. So to everyone who's tuned in, thank you very much for taking the time out of your day. Ros, as always, wonderful presentation. Thank you very much. And to those of you attending ITB next week, we hope to see you there. If not, hope to see you on a webinar sometime in the not too distant future. So thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, Chris.